Hello everyone, welcome to this talk, How to Reach Out Without Being Weird, Networking in Games. On the left of the screen is a weird image of Shrek and Donkey, but their heads have been swapped and their colours. So Donkey is green with Shrek's ears on Shrek's body, and Shrek is Donkey with Donkey's ears and his body. So that was my example of something weird. So my name is Keywood. I'm a white Welsh male with a trimmed beard, wearing a white t-shirt with multiple pairs of sunglasses on and a PS1 style snapback cap. I'm a lived experience accessibility consultant. I'm also APX certified. I co-host a gaming podcast, which we will go more in depth on in a moment. I write reviews for a website called Thumb Culture, and of course, I kind of play. I play games. That's kind of what I do as well. I was early diagnosed back when it was called Asperger's, so I still kind of call it that sometimes, but whatever floats your boat, whatever you want to call it, it's not for me to decide. I am not the autism police. So what will we go through in this talk? 4 main points. Networking isn't a dirty word. Then we'll move on to why I started a podcast. Then how to build relationships, and then some final advice before we wrap up. So why isn't networking a dirty word? So you might hear the word networking, and you probably picture standing around a table waiting for pastries to come out at a conference, in between talks. You strike up a conversation with someone, you exchange pleasantries, and then by the time you sat down, you've totally forgotten who they are, and you've got on with the rest of your day. I'm not someone who will naturally start conversations in a room full of strangers. I'm quite introverted. But networking isn't only for extroverted people, it's a professional skill. And like any professional skill, the more you do it, the easier it becomes to do. So whether that's public speaking, presenting, or even writing, any professional skill, the more you do it, the more comfortable you become. So what is networking? On the left of the slide is a picture of the Infinity Gauntlet. And it isn't collecting LinkedIn connections like the Infinity Stones or even Pokemon cards. It isn't introducing yourself to everyone in a room. And it also isn't just connecting with someone for who they know and not them themselves. Networking is building connections with people in the industry who share interests or even similar goals to yourself. Not every conversation will lead anywhere. Some will just be one-off conversations. Some will develop into friendships. Some will turn into valuable professional connections, and they may, down the line, in the years and months after, become an opportunity for you. The biggest thing that changed the way I network was changing the way that I actually thought about networking. On the left is an image of a cat with its paw stroking its chin as if it's deep in thought. So I used to maybe see network as collecting, but now I see it more as connecting. So I'd much rather have 10 close contacts who I know and we get on well, rather than 100 random people on LinkedIn who send messages and may recognize me vaguely. Every conversation doesn't have to be about selling myself as well. That's another key point. Listening is a skill in itself, and through podcasting I realise that the best conversations happen when I'm genuinely curious about the other person and I listen. Spending that time to listen rather than trying to impress leads to people naturally enjoy talking to you. And the final point was from what can I get to what can I bring. So people in my network will know that I will advocate if they're an artist, I will share their work. If I see opportunities I think could benefit them, I'll send them a link. So it's about sharing the love really, rather than just taking. So you may be thinking, why did I start a podcast? Well, I'm about to tell you why. So I co-started the podcast with Matthew Alcock, also known as the Wobbly Gamer, because I want to increase my people skills. I'm not the most social of people, but connecting to people, asking them to come on the podcast, getting sort of the running order of the podcast was definitely helped me to improve my people skills, and I'm someone who's generally interested in people. I like learning about different people's experiences, their life stories. They're always going to be different from mine, and whether it's due to location, age, gender, it's always going to be interesting to learn someone else's perspective. That's something that I could never really experience, and it helps build connections. People have reached out to be on the podcast, while other times I've reached out to other people, and then if it may not have happened, they may not be on the podcast, but then I've kept them sort of as a connection, checking in every so often. So it's definitely helped me with that. So how's it going? We've had 40 plus episodes, a couple of football specials. So far we've had everyone from any role in games on at this point. We've had audio, we've had 3D, we've had community managers, we've had 2D, we've had programmers, we've had coders, we've had the full shebang nearly. We've also had a sitting MP and the San Marino national team press officer. I reached out asking to interview one of the players, but as they had just won their first ever professional game and their first win in 20 years. And I got the answer back. I couldn't speak to any of the players because they all speak Italian. So, but the press officer was kind enough to spend 5-10 minutes, and I talked to him about the team, and I really enjoyed the experience. Definitely helped me, to do my research, learn about the players, learn about the future of the national team. Yeah, the hardest part is pressing a button. It's the send button. So, we create these stories in our heads. The person's too busy. They're too important for us. They probably think, what a waste of time. And that is Mr. Imposter Syndrome talking. I mean, sometimes people won't reply. Sometimes they'll message back with a quick no, and that's fine. It doesn't mean anything that you've done is wrong. It just means that the timing wasn't right for the person, and you've got to think, with them being professionals, they probably get interview requests all the time. The main thing I've done is be respectful. Just say, thank you for the reply. Best luck with what you're getting on with. And doing that, you're not really bothering anyone. And the more of them you get, the less scary rejection becomes. But the main takeaway, I think, is after press and send, every opportunity I've ever had in the industry is because somebody, either myself or someone else, has pressed that send button. Building relationships is point 3, and it is something that the podcast has definitely helped me to do. And here are just some of the things that I've done. So my process when reaching out for the podcast, the first thing I'll do is actually learn about the person. Like, I won't go into and learn their blood type and all that sort of stuff, but I'll get a gist of who they are, like what they do, what they've done, sort of their professional background. And then I'll reach out, but I'll send like a short message. I won't send an essay or a massive book loaded with saying, I'll just send a nice and concise message. I'll show some examples in a moment of some actual messages that I've sent and haven't sent. But the main thing is be clear in your message. Let them know what you want. If you want like an hour for an interview, if you just want to talk about something else in the news, just let them know. And the main thing is respectful. Be respectful. People have their own lives. They can say no. Don't chase them up saying, why no? Is it because of me? Is it because of this? Is it because of that? Just accept the word. Just accept the no. Move on accordingly. Thank them for their time. And yeah, so now we're going to look at some examples of good and bad reaching out. So this is a bad example. Hi, I'm looking for guests for my podcast and wondered if you'd be interested in featuring on an episode. It would be a great opportunity to talk about your career and current projects. Please let me know if you're available. So, that sounds genuine enough, polite. Who am I talking to? That is literally the definition of a copy and paste message. It doesn't explain why I want to talk to them. It just says it would be a great opportunity to talk to them. It doesn't explain why. And it feels sort of transactional. It's like, you talk to me about this, you'll be on the podcast. Not the best example. Here's an example of an actual message I've sent, but there is one little change. So I've put "Hi Nolan." In the actual email I put "Hi Mr. North." So Nolan North, the voice actor. I'm Cameron, co-host of, to put it bluntly, a games podcast where we chat with people in the industry. Having grown up with your performance in Uncharted, I'd love to hear some stories of your career and your future plans. If you ever have time to spare, I'd be honoured to have you on the show. No pressure at all if your schedule doesn't allow it. Thanks for your time and for bringing so many brilliant characters to life over the years. So he uses the name, is personalised. It shows you've done your homework on their projects or Uncharted, and I know Nolan North has done voices in Call of Duty, he's done voices in the Arkham games. Explains why you chose them, because about my love for Uncharted, makes it clear if you have time to spare, and gives me an easy way to climb. No pressure at all if your schedule doesn't allow. So it's a natural one I've sent. I haven't heard of Nolan, Mr. North, as I called him, but you never know in the future. But this is the sort of way to send that message. And finally, we have some final tidbits of information, advice, I suppose, that I've picked up during my time. So I've covered these really throughout the presentation, but I'm just going to go over them again just to reinforce that these are quite important. Number one is start the conversation. You miss 100% the shots you do not take. Reach out to that celebrity you want to interview, your dream celebrity. The worst they can say is no, and you never know, perhaps they will affirm and be positive, and then you've had an opportunity that you've created. Opportunities do not create themselves unless you are a Nepo baby, and most of us aren't Nepo babies. The second point is to listen. Listening is one of the most important skills in any person's arsenal, and I've learned a lot more from listening than I have from talking. So, you know, as one of my old teachers used to say, you've got two of them and one of these. Listening is definitely a skill that I find valuable for when doing podcasting. It leads conversations down places that I never would have imagined, and you may learn something interesting, not just about the person, but about yourself as well. And the final point is following up. Now, people in my network will know this. If you're a voice actor and I see a voice role that I think you'd be suitable for, I'll link it to you. If you're an indie developer and I see a funding program that I think you could apply for, I'll send it to you. Networking isn't just about, as I've said plenty of times, taking, but giving and taking as well. Give and take. Bit of both. And that leads on to my mantra, which is one of my favourite sayings. A rising tide lifts all boats. John F. Kennedy said this in a speech, but it was borrowed from a 15th century sailor. But the meaning is the same. Helping someone is helping everyone. Final thoughts. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room. You don't need to know everyone, but you just need to start that conversation. So every guest I've ever had, every opportunity I've had, every relationship I've built in the industry has started the same way. So if you take one thing away from today, take this. Just send it. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for listening to me talk, and if you want to get in contact with me, scan the QR code on screen. There's all my socials, and I want to thank you for listening and hope you enjoyed this talk at Impact Day.